Here's the thing about Ward. Ward is like the Death Stranding of freaking Wild Bow web serials, where there's some people who are going to read it, and it's just never going to click with them, and I just have to accept that. But it really clicks with me. Victoria Dallin is a character that is the protagonist of Ward. She's, in my opinion, one of the better protagonists for those written. Some people don't agree with me on that. I've heard a lot of different complaints about her character. Some people think that she's boring. Some people think that in a story about characters seeking redemption, why is the protagonist someone who's a victim rather than the person who's seeking redemption in the first place? I think it's kind of difficult to really put my thoughts into words on Victoria, but I'm gonna try my best to anyways. I'm probably gonna say some stuff in this video I might regret saying, probably gonna make my point a little bit fuzzy. I have a problem with that. I've gotten into several arguments on Reddit and Discord that did not go the way I wanted them to, and in retrospect, looked a little bit silly. But we're here now. I'm gonna do a little video where I talk about the different points of how Victoria works as a protagonist, how I think she is one of Wild Bow's best protagonists, and just overall do a little analyzation we do of her character. First of all, let's talk about Victoria's goals as a protagonist. One of the big problems I've heard people have with Victoria is that they don't really understand what she wants as a character and what her goals are as a protagonist. And I think that it's kind of weird because it's there, but it's not a very typical goal. What I like to think of Victoria's goal as is I like to think that Victoria's goal is keep Breakthrough okay, essentially. She goes up to Jessica Yamada. Jessica Yamada's like, hey, here's this group of people. I want to make sure they're okay. And Victoria's like, okay, I'll make sure they're okay. So her basic goal is keeping Breakthrough healthy, keeping them alive, and keeping them mentally stable, and trying to stop them from going down the same path that Amy did. I think that it's a goal that if you're looking for it, you can see it in a lot of places. There's so many times where you see Victoria say, I have this promise I have to keep that I made with Yamada, I have to look out for these guys. Or right after a big conflict, you'll see Victoria go through all the members of Breakthrough, see what all their problems are, and try and deal with them and get them to a healthier state. The entire, essentially from Arc 7 to Arc 9, is basically just that. The really cool thing about taking care of Breakthrough as a goal for Victoria is that it also lets us dive deep into how Breakthrough works as characters. You have Kenzie, who, if Victoria hadn't met this character through Jessica Yamada, if Victoria hadn't been specifically said, hey, watch out for these guys, one of them has problems, then we wouldn't get the deep dives into who Kenzie is as a person. We wouldn't get. It's made very clear how each member of Breakthrough is doing at any given point in the story, to the point where you constantly have it fluctuating, where maybe in one arc, Rain ain't doing so hot, but Kenzie and Tristan are fine. In one arc, Sveta's actually really fucked up and Victoria needs to deal with her, whereas the other members of Breakthrough are all more or less doing fine. Ashley, the start of the story is really kind of like she seems to be the biggest threat, but in reality, she's actually one of the members of Breakthrough that has things more or less figured out from the start. Though there's a lot that Victoria does to steer her more toward the path of being a hero, rather than just being a villain. Because of this, it means that you always get a sense that the story is moving forward, you always get that sense of change happening. That's what the point of a protagonist having a goal is. It's to create a sense of movement throughout a story. If a protagonist is seeking a single goal, if Luffy's looking for the One Piece, you're constantly getting closer to it and moving forward in the adventure. And so I feel like that sense of movement is there in War, especially in the sense that most of the time you punctuate a lot of Victoria's getting new knowledge of Breakthrough with an occasional Amy chapter. And then you get to compare how Breakthrough is doing to how Amy is doing, which is one of the best parts of Ward. One of the other points that I've heard people say is, okay, so Ward is a story about redemption. It's a story about second chances. Why is Victoria the protagonist in this story of second chances and redemption? She isn't seeking redemption. Victoria's role in the story is that I feel if you had just Breakthrough and the main character was a new character who was also seeking redemption in a similar way to Breakthrough, I feel like the story would kind of fall apart. It's like part of what makes Victoria such a key member of Breakthrough is that she knows how bad things can get. She has personal experience with people who are very much like Breakthrough. Amy in particular has a lot of parallels between each member of Breakthrough that you can draw. And I think that this is what leads her to be able to say, hey, we should steer Kenzie away from this kind of behavior. Hey, Sveta needs some moral help right now. Hey, Ashley needs to stop being fucking crazy for once and actually be a hero. And I think a big part of that is that Ward isn't just a story about redemption and second chances. It's also very much, I think, a story about the relationship between a victim and the person who hurt them. And you see that in more than just between Victoria and Amy, which is the obvious example. You see it with Rain and the Cluster. It's like a big part of Rain's character, even at the early Ward, is the question of how much of Rain's influence is actually causing these people to do the evil things they do. You see it in Tristan and Byron as well, between their relationship and how, in that case, it's one where the victim has forgiven the person who hurt them, but other people still haven't. You have Moonsong and their old team of Team Reach, where none of them have actually forgiven Tristan for what he did to Byron, but Byron has forgiven him. I probably should keep from doing Ward spoilers. I've done a ton of Ward spoilers and probably cut them out in this video. Victoria as a character is essential because if you don't have someone who is in that victim role, then it's very easy to look at Breakthrough as just a bunch of assholes who don't deserve it, who haven't put the work in. The fact that Victoria as a character recognizes the work that they've put in makes it stand out far more than it would if she wasn't in the story at all. Oh yeah, let's talk about how Victoria's amazing. I've been spending a lot of time in this video talking about Victoria's flaws, like what people don't like about her. Part of what makes her amazing is that there's so much more to her that I really love. We have a character who is so affected by her trauma. It's so unique even in the world of parahumans where every character has been traumatized in some way, that Victoria just goes on long nonsense tangents, staring off into space and completely ignoring the stuff that people tell her. And the fact that we have a character who has these mental issues worked into her from pretty much the beginning of the story it's unique even for Wildbow. He typically has more normal characters and then they gradually get more crazy. Victoria has started off with really cool perspective stuff and it's just gotten better and better as the story's gone on. I love how angry she gets. There's a point in Ward where Victoria is talking with Sveta and she talks about how she hones her anger into a point and focuses it on where that really matters. It's the coolest thing ever. The moment when and like you have Victoria going, he wins, fuck that. We're going after him. It's the best. I keep on listing examples and then realizing I can't list these examples because they're spoilers, but they're such good examples. Nah, that's a spoiler too. Oh god. Everything in Ward is a spoiler. I can't talk about any of this stuff. Bradley, if you're watching this, I just want you to know, Ward kit's really good. Well, that's all for this video, guys. I think I've made my point more or less clear. Hopefully the Ward spoilers I put everywhere in this video and then edited out didn't make the video seem like too much nonsense. Hopefully you got a better grasp on how Victoria works as a protagonist now. I don't know. I just sat here recording this for 15 minutes. Let me know what you guys think of this format for discussing Ward stuff. I'll probably do a lot of editing, like images all over the place. And we'll just see you guys next video. Have a good one.